Elvis Presley's journey began shrouded in family shame. His father, Vernon, faced a dark moment that would change their lives forever. Along with his brother Travis Smith, Vernon was caught altering a check, a minor crime, yet one that carried severe consequences in the rigid social structure of Mississippi during the Depression. Back then, only black people faced such harsh penalties for minor offenses. The Depression had twisted the nation's moral compass. Desperation drove ordinary people to crime out of hunger. Vernon sold a hog for $4, a desperate gamble to change their fate, but the gamble backfired. He and Travis tried to change the check into $14 or $40, a scheme lost in the annals of time. Caught red-handed, they became examples to the community, with Vernon serving 3 years in Parchman Penitentiary, a notorious prison known for exploiting convict labor. At Parchman, conditions were brutal. Prisoners were segregated, forced to live in camps where they toiled under the merciless sun from dawn till dusk. The lash, the Black Annie, a wide, fearsome strap, was a constant threat, used more often on white prisoners who dared to rebel. Vernon's time there was marked by relentless toil and unspoken horrors. The experience left an indelible mark on the Presley family. After serving 8 months, a petition from his neighbors secured Vernon's release for good behavior, yet the trauma lingered. The Presleys, Vernon, Gladys, and young Elvis, struggled with nightmares and sleepwalking, haunted by the memories of Parchman. After Vernon's release, the family moved to a small, impoverished area of Tupelo near the train tracks. Here, the constant rumble of trains became a haunting backdrop to their daily lives. Gladys, determined to hold her family together, took on the daunting task of caring for them in these dire circumstances. Weekends were reserved for visits to Vernon, a 5-hour bus ride away. Sundays at Parchman were especially difficult. Conjugal visits were allowed, but the Red House offered little comfort. Elvis, just 3 years old, was left to play alone while his parents vanished into the prison's depths. The neighbors, moved by their plight, started a petition for Vernon's permanent release. 8 months later, Vernon was finally freed, but the ordeal left deep scars. Nightmares and sleepwalking haunted the family. Elvis, in particular, carried the weight of these fears into adulthood, struggling with sleepwalking and haunting dreams of abandonment. In this world of scarcity, food became a rare treasure. Elvis's love for hamburgers was legendary. A simple burger from Duty's Diner was a heavenly experience. The crunch of the bun, the tang of mustard, the sweetness of pickles, all blended into a symphony of flavors that felt almost otherworldly. Accompanied by a cold Coca-Cola, it was bliss, but hamburgers were a luxury. The Presleys could barely afford meat, let alone the convenience of store-bought food. To Elvis, these treats were not just meals, they were a taste of freedom, a break from the daily grind of poverty. Food from the store seemed magical, almost like a gift. It represented a release from the toil of farming and cooking. At church gatherings, the abundance of food was a celebration, a way to honor the sacredness of sharing. Eating until satisfied wasn't just about filling bellies, it was about honoring the food and ensuring none went to waste. This culture of gratitude and abundance contrasted sharply with the constant hunger at home. Music was Elvis's solace, his escape. Growing up in rural Mississippi, sounds were ever present. Church choirs sang with fervor, their voices blending with the rhythm of gospel music. At just 2, Elvis was already drawn to the choir, running down the aisle to join. Later, the rhythmic calls of rhythm and blues, the soulful sounds of blues and spirituals filled his world. From the streets of Shake Rag to the churches, music was a constant companion. The preacher's guitar and the soulful voices at Assembly of God Church nourished his soul. Even the radio brought joy, playing everything from wartime big bands to Bing Crosby and even opera. Gladys would play Enrico Caruso's O Sol Mio, a melody that captivated young Elvis. His love for music was instinctual, a force that flowed through him like lifeblood. Every sound, every note was absorbed and stored away, shaping the man he would become. The natural world also left its mark on Elvis. The rural South was no stranger to violent storms. One tornado in 1936 devastated Tupelo, killing 216 people and destroying 900 homes. Elvis, just a toddler, experienced the terrifying power of nature firsthand. The storm's roar, the lightning illuminating the dark sky, etched itself into his memory. These storms inspired his imagination, influencing his later tales of the Tin Man from The Wizard of Oz and his fascination with lightning in Captain Marvel comics. The constant threat of storms made Elvis acutely aware of the world's fury. His sensitivity to sounds, heightened by ear infections, made each clap of thunder and howl of wind a vivid experience. Music became his refuge, a way to channel the raw emotions stirred by the tempests around him. Elvis's early life was marked by hardship, fear, and an insatiable hunger for something more. From the shame of his family's disgrace to the haunting sounds of storms, these experiences shaped him. They fueled his desire for attention, love, and the rich tapestry of sounds that would define his life and legacy. Elvis Presley's journey to becoming the king of rock and roll began with a special moment at Sun Studio in Memphis. On July 5, 1954, something magical happened. A young Elvis walked into the studio and recorded a song called "That's All Right, Mama." This song would become super important later on, but for now, let's focus on what made this moment so special. Before this day, Elvis was just a shy and awkward kid from Tupelo, Mississippi. He loved music more than anything, but he didn't know how to share it with the world. He played music to escape the tough life he had, with his family struggling to make ends meet. His dad, Vernon, worked hard but often found it hard to get good jobs because of his past as a convict. This made life tough for the whole family. Memphis was a new beginning for Elvis. It was a city where different types of music mixed together like a big, tasty stew. Beale Street was the heart of this musical blend. Here, blues singers poured their hearts out, telling stories of pain and hope. Elvis loved this music. He would listen to blues legends like Muddy Waters and Arthur "Big Boy" Crudup. Their songs spoke to him, helping him feel less alone and worthless. In Memphis, Elvis was surrounded by black culture, even though he lived just a block away from a black neighborhood. He would go to the AME church with his cousin and listen to gospel music. At Charlie's, a local hangout, he'd hear rhythm and blues on the jukebox. Elvis felt a deep connection to this music. It helped him express feelings he couldn't put into words. Elvis' love for music wasn't just about listening. He started playing guitar when he was 12, after his mom convinced him to buy one instead of a rifle. Uncle Vester and Johnny Smith, his mentors, taught him chords and encouraged him to sing. Elvis practiced every day, even at school, dreaming of one day performing on the Grand Ole Opry. When Elvis moved to Memphis at 13, he was ready to dive into the city's rich musical scene. Memphis was a melting pot of sounds, blues, country, and rhythm and blues all mixed together. Elvis soaked it all in like a sponge. He went to places like Lansky's where rhythm and blues performers played, and he even bought flashy clothes there, inspired by the musicians. Now, back to that pivotal day at Sun Studio. Elvis walked in, still figuring out who he was and what he wanted to do with his life. But when he started playing "That's All Right, Mama," something incredible happened. The people in the studio, including the legendary Sam Phillips, the owner, realized they were hearing something new and powerful. Elvis blended country and blues in a way no one had done before. His voice, raw and emotional, captured everyone's attention. This moment at Sun Studio was like a spark igniting a fire. Elvis' unique sound started to take shape, and soon, people would recognize him as a revolutionary figure in music. Before this, he was just a young man trying to make sense of the world through music. But on that day, he showed the world his true talent, setting him on a path to becoming one of the most influential musicians of all time. To understand how Elvis Presley came to create a groundbreaking sound, let's take a closer look at his life and the world around him. Elvis grew up in a humble environment in Memphis, Tennessee. His father worked hard but in low-paying jobs like a machinist or on an assembly line making rocket shells. Elvis too worked various jobs after high school, dreaming of something more exciting than the life of a laborer. Elvis loved music deeply, even though his parents wanted him to focus on school and a stable job. His mother, Gladys, pushed him to finish high school, something she and his father never accomplished. Yet Elvis had a strong desire to escape his ordinary life and become a star. Stars on the radio and in movies captivated him. They were famous and wealthy just for making people happy with their music and performances. Elvis was shy and often nervous. He faced rejections early on, like being told he couldn't join a gospel group or being told his voice wasn't right for singing. But he kept singing, drawn by the possibility of making a name for himself. He would sing whenever he could, at school events and gatherings, always trying to stand out. His unique style, mixing casual, trendy clothes with a love for music, made him an outsider but also someone who sought attention. At the Memphis recording service, Elvis went to record a song for his mom's birthday. Here, at Sun Records, he met Sam Phillips. Sam was searching for a unique sound, the mix of black rhythm and blues with a white singer's voice. It was an unusual idea at the time, but Sam felt it could bridge racial divides through music. When Elvis walked in, he claimed he didn't sound like anyone else. This could have been Elvis being humble or just not wanting to boast. He sang a song that wasn't very exciting, but Marion Kasker, who worked at Sun Records, heard something special in his voice. Sam Phillips had already found success with blues songs like Rocket 88, which some consider the first rock and roll song. He had also recorded a group called the Prisonaires, whose song Walkin' in the Rain did well regionally. With Elvis, Sam was unsure if he was making a similar leap. The first session with Elvis didn't go as planned. Elvis seemed nervous, and the session didn't yield much that stood out. However, the key moment came when Elvis started playing That's All Right. This song marked a turning point, a blend of blues and country with a rhythm that felt new and exciting. It was like nothing anyone had heard before. Elvis's voice, full of emotion and raw energy, fit perfectly with the music. This moment was crucial because it showed how Elvis could bring together different musical traditions, something Sam Phillips had been searching for. Elvis's journey to becoming a star wasn't easy. He faced self-doubt and criticism, but he kept singing, always pushing to express himself. His unique style emerged from his background, his dreams, and his willingness to take risks. By combining elements of black rhythm and blues with his own style, Elvis helped create rock and roll, a genre that would change music forever. In simple terms, Elvis's success came from his passion for music, his desire to stand out, and his ability to blend different musical styles. He took risks and kept singing, eventually creating a sound that resonated with many people. His story teaches us that following our dreams and being true to ourselves can lead to amazing things, even if it means being different from everyone else.